Welcome to Come Get Woo Woo. We're your hosts, Becky and Ro, here to hold space for the unseen, the unspoken, and the deeply felt. This is a place for seekers, for those who sense that there's more, for those who hear between the words, feel beyond the room, and know without knowing why.
Together, we'll explore the language of spirit, the clarity of your clairs, and the signs that rise up when you're ready to notice. You're not imagining it. You're remembering it. This is Come Get Woo Woo.
What if the most spiritual place you could ever go isn't up there, or even out there, but actually right here? What if you've been so busy looking at the stars, reading charts, or chasing frequencies that you've accidentally left behind the very instrument we've been using to experience it all? Think of your body as an ultimate hard drive. Every stress you didn't quite finish, every yes that should have been a no, and every version of your ancestors who learned how to survive so you could be here today. It's all still plugged in. It's running in the background of your life right now as you drive your car or drink your coffee or make your tea. That off feeling we get sometimes isn't a mystery to be solved by your mind. It's often the body's way of saying, you aren't home right now. You're hovering. If you've ever felt like you're living a life from a few inches above your head, if you've ever felt the glitch in your chest when you say something that isn't quite true, or if you've ever felt the weight of your bones that felt less like a burden and more like an ancient, steady strength, then this episode's for you. Hey, woo-woo seekers. Welcome back to Come Get Woo-Woo with Becky and Ro. I'm Becky.
And I'm Ro. Today we're entering the somatic realm, but we're leaving behind the clinical definitions and the ideas that the body is just a machine you have to fix. Instead, we're looking at it as the only territory where the truth is a physical fact. And just to ground this isn't a new meditation technique or a way to relax perfectly. It's a simple way of inhabiting the instrument you were born with. In this episode, we're going to walk through the mechanical map of your being. We'll talk about interoception, your inner listening system, and proprioception, the sense of your own edge. We'll explore the ancestral hard drive hidden in your bones and how to tell the difference between a somatic yes and a somatic no. We're not here to give you a map of the universe today. We're here to show you that you are the map.
Before we step into the somatic realm, we want to pause for a quick moment. If you've been enjoying this journey with us and something has resonated or supported you, we'd truly appreciate you following our podcast and leaving a review. It helps more than you know.
Those likes, reviews, and subscriptions really do make a difference. They help this podcast reach more people who are curious, open, or just starting on their own path. And that's something we really care about, getting this into the ears of the seekers who need it. So thank you for being part of helping this grow. Now, we usually don't do this, but our teacher, mentor, and friend is holding a new class, and we're bringing it up here in case our seekers wanted a chance to join in. Becky, do you want to explain this class and then go into what the somatic realm is all about?
Absolutely. So Nancy's new class is called The Connections Within the Chapters. It's a 6-week class starting on Tuesday, June 16th at 8 p.m. on the Eastern Coast. This class is unique. She'll be picking spiritual books to dive into and discuss. So if you have any questions or if you agree or not, there will be a discussion in class. Nancy works with her guide called Rebecca. For these classes she teaches, and I believe that there'll be special activities such as meditations and other activities that she may be guided to do. You can reach her through her email, which is Nancy, Nancy, So Nancy460@gmail.com. We'll also make sure that we put this all in the show notes. So let's start with this. What is the somatic realm? Like we talked about last week, most of us live our lives just slightly above our bodies, not fully in them. It's almost like we're hovering a few inches too high, thinking, planning, reacting, while the body moves underneath us. We treat it like something we're carrying, something that we look at, something that we notice only when it hurts, but not something we're actually inside of. The somatic realm is a shift out of the mind and into the physical fact of being here. Not I have a body, but I am inside this body. Not grounding, not roots, just this. The physical facts of you right now. Your breath moving in your ribs, your chest rising and falling, your heart beating, whether you think about it or not. Weight of your body pressing into the surface beneath you. The density of your bones holding you up without effort. These are not ideas. These are not spiritual concepts. They are the mechanical reality of being alive in this exact second. You don't have to do anything to access them. You don't have to change your breath. You don't have to relax. You don't even have to go deeper. You only have to notice. Because the moment you notice, you are no longer thinking about your body. You are inside it. This is the body, the somatic realm, the only place that you can ever actually arrive. You cannot feel your breath in the future. You cannot feel your pulse in the past. The body does not exist in memory, and it does not exist in anticipation. It only exists here. And when you acknowledge it, even for a moment, you land in one place that has been holding you the entire time. Home. Now, instead of thinking of your body, just begin to notice it. Feel the air on the tip of your nose. Not the idea of your breath, but the actual temperature of it. The cool as it comes in and slightly warmer as it leaves. Let your attention drop to where your body meets the surface beneath you, acknowledging the pressure and the specific points of contact where you are being held up without effort. Notice your hands, not by looking at them, but from inside, sensing the quiet presence and the faint aliveness of your fingers, not even if it's subtle. Bring your awareness to your chest and see if you can feel the movement there. You aren't noticing the breath, you're noticing what is already happening as your ribs expand and soften. Maybe you begin to notice your heartbeat, or maybe you don't, but both are facts. Now, go even deeper and notice the weight inside your body. Not just your body in the chair, but the weight within it, the density of you and the quiet gravity of your bones. Then acknowledge something even more subtle, the small, almost invisible sensations, like the slight tingling somewhere, a warmth, a coolness, or a place that feels neutral or even absent. Nothing needs to change and nothing needs to become more, because every single one of these is a somatic fact.
When we're editing, you have to do this.
Why?
Yeah, you just have to do it. It's like I was trying to feel the inside of my hands and the weight of my body on the chair. So you definitely have to sit and listen to it.
Is that powerful?
Yeah. So the internal map?
Yes.
Okay. Once you've landed in the body, something subtle begins to shift. You start to realize the body has its own way of perceiving, not thinking or analyzing, but sensing. This is your system of interoception. It is your inner listening system, the one that has been there the entire time, just waiting for your attention. Beneath your skin, there is constant movement. your lungs expanding, your stomach processing, your heartbeat creating a quiet rhythm. Most of the time, this internal world of interoception is ignored, like a low hum you've learned to tune out. But the moment you notice it, the volume turns up, and what was once silent becomes a physical fact that you can actually feel. At the same time, you begin to notice a second system at work, proprioception. This is your sense of edge. Even with your eyes closed, you know exactly where your body is in space. You can feel where your hands are resting and sense the position of your shoulders without looking. Through proprioception, you can feel where you end and something else begins. The pressure where your back touches the chair or the contact of your feet against the ground. This is your physical boundary, not as an idea, but as a direct experience of your own perimeter. Now that both systems are active, you may notice something simple. You are not trying to sense anything new. You are only noticing what is already happening at all times. The body doesn't turn on and off. It is always here. You are just arriving where you already are. This is something you can do with your eyes open, right in the middle of your day. If you're driving, keep your attention on the road. Nothing here should take you away from what you're doing. It simply brings you more fully into it. For interoception, start by noticing the internal hum. Without changing anything, become aware of the activity inside your body. You might feel the subtle vibration in your hands where they meet the steering wheel, or the natural rhythm of your breath moving in the background. You're not going inward to disconnect. You're just noticing the physical system that is already in motion, like briefly checking a dashboard. You're becoming aware of what's already happening inside you as you move through the world. For proprioception, at the same time, begin to notice your physical edges. Feel your back against the seat, the pressure of your body being supported, your hands where they make contact, your feet resting on the floor or the pedal. You are not just thinking your way through this moment. You are the physical presence occupying space. You have shape, weight, and position. And all of that is available to you without ever looking away from what's in front of you. Then let both of these exist together. The internal rhythm of your body and the external contact of your body in space, the hum and the edge. When both are in your awareness, there is a sense of being fully here, not pulled into thought, not drifting, but present and responsive. You are here in the body that is actually living in this moment. And if at any point you notice you have drifted into thought again, nothing is lost. You are not correcting yourself. You are simply noticing where attention went. And in that noticing, you return, not to a new state, but to what was already here. And from this place, notice what changes. The outside world doesn't disappear. The traffic is still there. The day is still happening. But there is often a subtle shift in how it meets you. Things feel a little less overwhelming, a little more contained. Not because anything has gone away, but because you are no longer hovering above yourself. You are here in the body that is actually living in this moment. And the more you stay here, the more precise this awareness becomes. You start to see that through these systems, your body responds to truth in real time. When something feels aligned, there is a sense of coherence. Your chest might feel wider and your breath moves more freely. And when something is off, your body shows you that too, through tightening in the throat or a knot in the stomach. This isn't a message from the outside. It is your physical instrument using interoception and proprioception. to tell you exactly how it is responding to the moment. All of it starts the same way, by noticing what is already there. So I was really excited to do this part because this is something that Joe Shield always talks about in his circles and in his classes.
Oh, cool. You know what this reminds me of? You made the meditation a long time ago, not knowing that this is where we're going to go with our episodes. The clairvoyant meditation that you did that takes you through your kitchen because you're becoming aware of where things were in your kitchen.
Yes, because you know where it is. And for clairvoyance, you could recall or see your stove and your counter and your cabinets and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I would like to go over how your body is the living library. Are you okay with that?
Of course.
The body doesn't experience an emotion and let it go. It processes it. But when an experience is too big and we aren't ready to move through it, the body files it away. So we often say the issue is in the tissue, which I like this because it makes so much sense. And you know me, and I love metaphors. But this isn't just a metaphor. Every stress, every moment of protection, and every unexpressed no is stored in a physical pattern in your fascia and your muscles. When you notice a reoccurring tightness in your shoulders or a stuck feeling in your hips, if the muscles and the tissues are the daily logs, then the bones are the ancestral hard drive. Your skin, your blood, and your hairs are all in a constant state of flux, always renewing and changing. But your bones are the slow-growing, dense architecture of your life. They are the most enduring part of your physical existence. When you understand that your body is a library, you stop fighting the tensions and start listening to them. And you realize that your body isn't broken or tight. It's simply holding on to information. By acknowledging the body, you aren't just relaxing, you're opening the files. You're giving the instrument permission to finally processing the data that it has been storing, allowing that energy to move out of the archives and back into the flow of your life. To listen to the ancestral part of your body, we have to go past the soft parts of ourselves, the muscle and the skin, and focus on the bones. The soft tissue is where the current life lives, our stresses, our daily habits, our recent memories. But the bones are the slow-growing, dense architecture that stays with us. They are the closest things we have to a permanent record in the physical world. When we listen to our ancestors, we aren't looking for a voice in our head. We are listening for the structural fact of our survival. You listen to your lineage by acknowledging the density of your skeleton. Every ancestor you have going back thousands of years had to be physically resilient enough to survive long enough to pass life on to the next person. That resilience isn't a story. It is literally written in the calcium and the mayo of your frame. When you sit or stand, try to feel the weight of your own skeleton. Instead of feeling your muscles holding you up, try to feel the bones doing the work. There is a specific kind of quiet, massive strength in the bones. It feels heavy, ancient, and unshakable. That feeling is the voice of your ancestors. It's the physical evidence that you come from a long line of people who knew how to endure. Inside the bones, where the blood is born, this is your ancestral hard drive. If you are sitting quietly, even while driving or working, you can try to sense the vibration of your long bones, like your femurs or even your spine. You aren't looking for words. You are looking for vibration of belonging. It's a feeling of being held by the earth from the inside out. When you land in your bones, you might notice that the anxiety, which usually lives in the soft tissue, start to feel smaller. It's hard to stay in the flighty or panic state when you are fully acknowledging the weight of the ancestral frame that has survived ice ages, migrations, and upheaval.
I never thought of feeling my bones.
I hadn't either. It's really kind of interesting.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny because the only time you really pay attention to your bones is when something hurts around them.
And I think this whole episode is where you stop being the thinker and start being the observer.
Agreed. But your body becomes an observer here, I think.
Correct. And absorbing all of it. Every stress, every no, every disappointment, anger, whatever, your body absorbs all of it. And I never realized the importance of like somatic release exercises until we started doing this.
Yes, because the somatic releases helps you release that physical stuff you've been carrying that really doesn't belong there.
Right.
The issues in the tissue.
Issues in the tissue. I really like that. Yeah. What is it? Didn't we have one last week too that I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to be my new one. Oh yes. The no. What does no mean? New opportunities.
Yes.
Thank you, Joe.
Shall I go over the 3 streams of knowing?
Absolutely. Let's hear it.
First up is clairsentience. So clairsentience is the external signal. Think of clairsentience as the sensor. It is your ability to pick up the energy of a room, a person, or a spirit. It is a clear feeling, but it starts outside of you. You might feel heavy when you walk into a hospital or light around a certain friend. That is a signal hitting your field. Now, intuition, that's the interpreter. It is your internal translator that takes that clairsentient signal or a thought or a knowing and turns it into a message. Intuition is the voice that says, something is wrong here, or you should call your brother. Now, the somatic response, the somatic yes or no, is the instrument itself. This isn't a signal from the outside, and it isn't an interpretation in your head. It is the literal physical reaction of your cells to the reality you are standing in. While clairsentience can be noisy and intuition can be influenced by your hopes or fears, the somatic response is the only one that cannot lie. Your tissues and your bones don't have an ego. They have a reaction. Now, how do we actually use the body to find the answer? We move away from asking the universe and start observing the instrument. A somatic yes doesn't always feel like a celebration. It feels like coherence. When you think of a path or a truth that is aligned with your soul, the body responds by stacking correctly. Your breath moves more easily into the bottom of your lungs. Your shoulders might settle. There is a sense of being heavy and steady. The instrument is saying, I can hold this truth without creating friction. A somatic no, on the other hand, a somatic no is a physical contraction. The body is a mass of protection, and when something is out of alignment, it instinctively tries to shield the vital parts. You might feel a tiny tightening in the back of your throat, a hollow feeling in your stomach, or a subtle rounding of your shoulders. The instrument is saying, this creates friction. I am tightening to protect the core. So I have a little test, and we could try this right now. State your name out loud. Notice how your chest feels. It's probably neutral, steady, and locked in. That is the feeling of a somatic fact. Now, state a name that isn't yours. Don't look for a feeling, look for a glitch. Notice if your breath catches for a microsecond, or if your jaw clenches just slightly. That glitch is your somatic no. It is the physical evidence that you are out of alignment with the truth of the moment. Now come back to something simple. The breath. Not the idea of breathing, just the actual movement happening without effort. Notice only that. The air entering, the air leaving. Nothing to change, nothing to improve. Just the fact that it is happening. If the mind is active, let it be in the background. The body does not require focus to continue breathing. It only requires noticing that it is already doing it.
Well, here's a fun thing. So I was doing this as you were talking. And one thing I noticed for me, when you were talking about feeling in your chest, I noticed when I said my name, there was kind of almost like a you stand up straighter type of feel in my chest. So my kind of chest kind of lifted. But then I actually did it twice. And the first name I gave was yours. And I noticed it was almost like my chest got flat, like that feeling of flatness, like that's the only way I can describe it. And I can visualize the difference between and I'm going to say soda, even though I'm Minnesotan and pop is my go-to, where a soda is, freshly opened. So the carbonation is all there. And then where it's flattened out and there is no carbonation. That was the difference.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was part of that exercise. And then when you're asking us to notice, one of the things that I automatically did is as I was concentrating on my breath, everything else did kind of disappear because I was focusing on this one thing. And I noticed that everything else just slowed down because I was actually thinking about being in the moment. So it just automatically, everything just kind of slowed down. It was really interesting.
While you were talking.
You were doing it, weren't you?
I was. I was doing the breath and I'm like, oh, it does feel like everything is slowing down.
Yeah. I think because you're concentrating on what's in front of you.
Yes. Yeah, because it gave me something else to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go over living from the landing?
The goal of this body episode isn't to give people a new meditation technique. It's to give you a new default state. It's the shift from floating a few inches above your body to the landing inside of it. It's the shift from thinking you're grounded to noticing the physical fact of your own weight. It's the shift from seeking permission to recognizing the response. When you inhabit this space, you aren't just present. You are unshakable because you aren't relying on the story you told yourself. You're relying on the mechanical reality of the body that has been holding you this entire time. We spend so much of our lives looking for a sign from the outside. We look to the stars. We look to the repeating numbers. We ask other people for advice. We try to find a yes or a no that feels more reliable than our own uncertainty. But in the somatic realm, something very simple becomes clear. The most consistent signal you will ever have is already happening inside your own skin. This isn't about being spiritual, it's about being accurate. When you stop asking, is this the right move? And start asking, how is my body responding to this? Something fundamental shifts. You move from trying to predict life to observing how life is already affecting you. You are no longer guessing. You are reading data that is happening in real time. The reliability of the body comes from how honest it is. It does not negotiate with your preferences. It does not adjust itself to match your hopes. It simply responds. Your breath changes without permission. Your stomach tightens or relaxes without instructions. Your shoulders rise or drop depending on what you are exposed to. This is not an interpretation, it's feedback. Your intuition, in contrast, can be influenced by desire. It can be shaped by fear. Your imagination by the story you want to be true. Even your clairsentient can become noisy when you are overwhelmed, distracted, or emotionally invested. But your body is always responding to what is actually happening in the present moment. It is a biological instrument that registers friction and flow without needing a narrative. If you are standing in a situation and you notice your throat tightening, your stomach drawing inward, and your breath becoming shallow, that is not a symbolic message. It is a physical response to the environment you're in. It does not need to be exaggerated to be meaningful. Even subtle contradiction is information. If you also notice openness, ease in breath, and a sense of spaciousness in your chest, that is also information. Not better or worse, just different readings of the same system. This is where people override themselves. They ignore what is happening in their body because the external signals look convincing. The opportunity looks right. The timing looks right. The logic makes sense. But the body is still registering its response underneath all of that. The symbolic realm asks you to include that data instead of excluding it. Living from the landing is not about adding another practice to your life. It is about changing where you operate from. It is the shift from floating above your body, analyzing life from a slight distance, to actually inhabiting the place where life is happening. It is the difference between thinking you are grounded and noticing actual weight of your body being held by the surface beneath you. It is also the shift from seeking permission externally to recognize response internally. Not because outside input is wrong, but because it's incomplete without your body's feedback. When both are included, something stabilizes. When you inhabit the space fully, there is a different quality to experience. Not a dramatic change, but a quiet steadiness. You are not relying only on the story in your mind. You are also relying on the physical reality that is happening around you. Through breath, sensation, and contact, the body has been holding you this entire time. And when you include it in your awareness, it becomes much harder to lose your center. But for real life feedback about how life is affecting you as it happens.
As you were talking, I was thinking about some of our earlier episodes on clairsentience, because I think we went in a little bit on the somatic sense of it.
I think you're right. I think, didn't we both do one? And I think yours, you did a body check where you gave an example and you wanted to see where it felt in your body.
Yes.
I think that's what it was.
And I also think I did that with the Soul's Garden one, where you were guided by your body to see how your intuition worked.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing about it, is with the intuition part. I was a little hesitant about that one due to the fact that intuition's never lying to us, but how we interpret it is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I think I made the example long ago in the clairsentient is, I'm a Minnesota native. apparently I bleed purple. And
Oh, do you? Oh,
I'm
that's cool.
I'm a Vikings fan.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know you don't bleed purple.
I know. No, but any Minnesotan knows what I mean by that. Or
Okay.
Viking fan, I should say. Okay, so we get together for the football games at my sister's house, and there's a group of us that do that. And Andy, which he listens, so a shout out to him. And he is always like, Becky, what do your chicken bones say? You know, are we going to win this game? And every year I'm like, of course we're going to win. Because that's me not listening to my body. It's actually influenced by my ego. So that's an example where you can interpret your intuition wrong.
Yeah. I just had that with Katara. And I knew I should follow my intuition, but I just couldn't because there was just too much going on. Like, do I do this? Do I do that? And it's hard because you do put your real life feelings into it.
Agreed. And I wouldn't want to be in your place. I'm not going to lie.
She's doing better.
She's doing better. That's good. I'm glad.
Still have to wait on test results, but
yeah.
So shall we go into the decision-making lab?
I would love to hear what the decision-making lab means.
Okay. Now that we've identified the glitch, we can start to use the instrument more than just fun tests. We can use it for our lives. This is where we enter what we've been calling the decision-making lab. We move away from asking the universe for a sign and start observing the response of the instrument. The decision-making lab begins with a simple split. Most of us are taught to make decisions by constructing a mental spreadsheet. The way we weigh pros and cons, we try to predict outcomes, we build arguments for what makes sense, but the mind is always trying to forecast the future. And in doing so, it often confuses probability with truth. The body does not do this. The body is not predicting. It is not responding. It is not building a story. It is registering structure. We are not trying to decide anything right now. We are simply observing how different thoughts move through the body. This is not a test of correctness. It's a study of response. When you apply this to real life, imagine something like a job change or a move. The mind may say, this is a good opportunity. The salary is better. The title is higher. The logic is clean. On paper, it makes sense. But as you notice yourself speaking or thinking through it, something else may be present. A tightening in the stomach, a slight tension in the jaw, a sense of constriction in the breath. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, but present. This is where the split becomes visible. The mind is forming a yes out of reasoning, while the body is registering friction. We often confuse this moment. We label it nerves or excitement and move past it. But when you stay with it, the difference becomes clearer. Excitement tends to feel open in the chest, even if the heart is beating quickly. There is space in the breath. Resistance tends to feel narrower. The breath becomes shallower. The throat may feel tighter. One is a system preparing for engagement, and the other is the system of signaling instability. The mind will try to explain these sensations. It will turn them into stories, reasons, or justifications. But you do not need the story to read the signal. The body speaks first. The explanation comes later. Most clarity is not hidden. It is just overridden.
Literally just talked about this. You know, my Vikings are always going to win, no matter what. If you ask me every single Sunday, they're going to win. Do I know that they're not going to win? Absolutely. There's a probability that's higher than not that they're going to lose. But the circumstances influence it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But in the same principle becomes even easier to see the original moments where if nothing's at stake and yet everything is still happening, like we were talking about last week in the grocery line, for example, the mind often moves above the body. It leaves the present moment and starts living in the next task. So that next destination, the next thought, it's that moment. You are not fully inside your experience. You're hovering just above. But if you simply notice that your feet are inside your shoes, the weight of your body is being supported, the contact of your hands of whatever you're holding, something shifts. You are no longer just waiting. You are inhabiting the moment you are already in. As you move through your day, even something as simple as walking becomes part of a collaboration. Notice the moment that one foot meets the ground, then the other, and the transfer of weight one side of the body to the other. You are not walking in theory. You are experiencing the continuous exchange of balance and support. Each step is a small negotiation between gravity and structure. You do not have control over it. You only have to notice that it's already happening. Or in a conversation, you might notice the subtle drop of energy. Instead of analyzing it, you can simply return to the sensation. Notice your breath. Notice whether your body is leaning forward or pulling back. Notice your back against the chair, or notice the stance if you're standing. Often, without changing the conversation at all, your experience of it shifts. Not because the situation changed, but because you return to the position inside of it. This is the autonomy of the glitch. The moment where the body and the mind disagree in real time, the mind often continues forward because it's trying to maintain social flow, agreement, or acceptance. It wants to be correct or liked or safe, but the body does not operate on social permission. It operates on direct impact. It knows if something is depleting. It knows when something is steady. It knows when something feels like expansion and when something feels like contraction. The moment where your breath catches just before you say yes to something you do not actually want to do is one of the most honest moments available to you. It happens quickly, almost unnoticed, but it is unmistakably physical. This is the system registering truth before the story is spoken. When that moment is ignored repeatedly, it doesn't disappear. It accumulates, not as emotion alone, but as physical holding patterns. What is often called stress or tension is sometimes simply unacknowledged signal stored in the body. This is why we call it a realm, because it operates under different rules than thought. In the mental realm, the primary tool is logic. In the emotional realm, the primary language is feeling. But in the somatic realm, the governing principle is fact. A somatic fact does not require agreement. It does not need belief. It is either present or it is not. You cannot reason your way out of a racing heart. You cannot argue your way into a relaxed breath. The body responds directly to conditions, not explanations. When you enter this realm, you are stepping into something older than personality, the part of you that does not need a narrative to know whether something is safe or not. The part that responds before language arrives. This is not separate from you. It is you at a more functional layer. And when you begin to treat this as a realm, something important changes. The body no longer is just a tool you use. It becomes a place you inhabit, a territory you learn to listen to, not something to control, but something to understand through direct contact. Even simple awareness becomes practice. As you move through your day, you can begin to notice the parts of you that usually remain in the background. The shoulders that quietly hold tension, the thighs that are either engaged or resting, the back of your neck that subtly supports the head without recognition. Nothing needs to be changed, only noticed. This is a scan of the unseen, not an attempt to fix anything. Most of the body lives outside of attention, not because it's unimportant, but because it's reliable. And when attention returns to it, even briefly, something often shifts. Tension that was being held without awareness may soften suddenly because it is now included. Not forced, not adjusted, just seen. I just find this so incredibly interesting because I never think of outside of the direct, my body is my body, and it functions, but how does it function? And this episode, it just showed me how it functions. So amazing.
I was going to say you're rubbing off on me because you really need to pay attention to how your body is responding to
It's
things.
about time I started rubbing off on you. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, you agree.
Yeah. Why does your heart race? What causes your heart to race? What is that heart racing telling you?
My biggest is it's the hesitation before you say yes. How many times I've actually, like, somebody asked me to do something, I'm like, okay, sure, fine, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I do speak up, but for a lot of years I said yes when I should have said no.
I hesitate when I speak anyway, but yes, I get what you're saying.
but we all know that I don't. Not anymore.
This is true.
I'll make shit up until I get to my point. And sometimes that doesn't ever happen. I know, it's just interesting.
Yeah. As we close today's episode, the somatic realm, it isn't a place you have to go find. It isn't a destination or a state of perfection you have to achieve. It is the physical fact of you, exactly as you are in this second. Sometimes it feels like a quiet hum in your hands while you're driving. Sometimes it feels like a glitch in your throat when you aren't being honest with yourself. Sometimes it feels older, heavier, like the density of your ancestors' bones supporting your own. And sometimes it's just the cool air at the tip of your nose. None of that means you're doing it right or doing it wrong. It just means you're home. So instead of trying to fix your tension or resolve your stress, just try this. Over the next few days, notice where you are. When that midday hovering hits, when you feel like you're drifting 3 inches above your own head, just pause and check in. Am I in my head, planning the next hour, or am I in my body feeling the weight of the chair? You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to force a relaxation. Just saying, I see where I am. I'm in my seat is enough to start changing your relationship to the moment. And honestly, I love doing this episode. So if any of this helped you feel a little more oriented inside your own skin, then we did what we came here to do. Becky, what are we doing next week?
Well, in our next episode, it is Message as Emotion once again. We'll be returning to the words from the Woo Woo Seeker's Journal, A Journey for Your Signs and Symbols, Book 1, and exploring how signs and symbols begin to speak once you understand the structure behind them. See how spirit gets your attention when you're not looking for it, and how meaning shows up in ordinary moments. And here are the words for this week from the Woo Woo Seeker's Journal, A Journey for Your Signs and Symbols, Book 1. Map and mask. See what rises. See what resonates. You can find the meditations for these words on our YouTube channel at Woo Woo Seekers. All the words can be found with direct links in our newsletter that can be found at comegetwoowoo.com, with new meditations released the first of every month. If you want to deepen your journey, explore our other meditation series, The Sacred Tree and the Soul's Garden, also available on our YouTube channel at Woo Woo Seekers. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for getting woo-woo with us today. If something sparked a memory, a message, or just made you smile, share it with a fellow seeker, because the journey is always better when you can grow together. Be sure to find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Woo Woo Seekers, so you can like, follow, and subscribe.
You can also follow us by visiting our website, comegetwoowoo.com. We are so much more than just another podcast. We're building a community of seekers just like us. We love hearing from you. If you've got signs, symbols, or stories that you want to share, email us at woowooseekers@gmail.com. Or any questions about today's episode, you can email us at comegetwoowoo@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and as always, come get woo-woo with us.